Adriatic Ocean. Mediterranean was on the left.
Well, tell me more about that LST voyage. How did it compare to the freighter that you took across the Atlantic?
The LST was all right. I mean, of course, yeah, we had our own LST and stuff like that. So all our equipment was up on the deck, and those of us who worked in the trailers, we would sleep in the trailers at night and stuff like that. And or if it was raining, crawl in the trailers. But the big deal was when they fed you twice a day on that trip from up to Italy. You had to go, you know, the LSTs are very narrow. And some of the guys that start down there and try to, they got down there, and of course the English menu was a lot different than ours, and they couldn't stand they used a lot of different reeds than we do, you know, in those days. And some of them were standing on the stairway, and they just give up their meal and walk back up to get out on the deck in fresh air. But I wasn't one of them. If they brought me in there, they had to feed me.
And what sort of equipment? You mentioned you had to take all your equipment with you on the LST to Italy. What equipment did your unit require?
Well, in a printing operation, we got printing presses, and big cameras to take pictures of the area. The Air Force would fly over and bring film back, and we had photo interpreters who would go over by detail and try to pick out targets, you know. And so we had everything we needed. We could do the job over there just the same as if we'd been in Spokane. Developed new equipment and medicines and so forth. In other words, the presses we had were the advent of the presses that everybody started using. Instead of being these big whopping things, they were would fit in something you could put on the they were called 1722. That was the sheet size that they could use. See, like our killers today, they got 42-inch sheets and all that. But that's where all that small stuff developed, was from the war, you know.
But what other equipment did your unit have to take? I mean, you had your technical stuff for your topos.
The guy, the surveyors, anybody did anything with topography, all that kind of stuff. They had their own stuff, you know.
But did you also have your own, you know, KP or kitchen components?
You had your own. You had your own guys that took the job for the KP. Yeah. We always did that ourselves, and in our outfit, they were offered. Some of them were offered what you call permanent KP, but they were on duty a couple of days a week. just like the firemen do, days on, days off, see? And some of those guys just ate that up, you know? So we didn't serve, they had to clean up the kitchen anymore. We would pull, our name came up on the duty, our guard duty and stuff like that. But we had permanent KPs. That was good.
And how about for defense purposes? Did you have military police, or did you have your own rifles and weapons?
That's come from this war that these guys are running today. They hire policemen and all that. No, we did all that on our own. You know, it's anything like that. It came from within your unit because, well, we all had, one thing they didn't do was guns. We had rifles and stuff that go into it, but the thing, go to get back up here, on the left the boat in New York, we had our rifles, but they didn't issue any ammunition, see, but then about 2 days before we were getting to this place in France where we were gonna, they got cases of ammunition up out of the hole and started passing out. I said, well, looky here, guys. I said, you're in good hands. It says, Chrysler Ordnance, Evansville, Indiana. No problem.
So were you required yourself to do guard duty for your unit?
Oh yeah.
How often would that happen?
We had rosters, yeah. Oh yeah.
So what other tasks would you have to do besides guard duty, your topo duty?
Just anything connected with our regular job, I'll say that. I will go with that, yeah. When your name charge of quarters was I think about that one night when they come here, lady come up here and said, Mr. Donahue, you lady, get up. But in the charge of quarters, they always had one man in charge of the unit, basic, and that was his job. When the time came, it was 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning. All right, you guys, get your butt out of here and let's get going.
Well, tell me more about what your unit actually did for topos. Did you actually prepare maps of photographs? How does the process work? Walk me through who does what, what happens.
Of course, we had the planes would take the pictures, and then what we had units called photo interpreters who would sit down there with and go over everything with a magnifier and pick out logical targets, you know, and find out about it and put information, and then they go to the printing area, and we would reproduce the maps that they were particularly interested in at that time for that outfit, you know.
So would you take you had a current map of the area, but you would take the aerials that had markings of targets and then reprint a map with targets? Is that what happened?
Well, yeah, these photo interpreters would pick out a target on the ground, and then they would draw up a map for that particular area, how many square miles it would cover. But yeah, then that was given to the airfields, got the pilots, so they would know what they were looking for on the ground. Yeah.
So what part of that process did you do yourself?
Well, I worked in the printing area all the time. I was what they call the plate maker and cameraman, taking pictures of certain copying and all that, camera and printing place. So
give me a little more detail how that older technology worked. You you would take a film camera, and what would you do?
Oh, well, we had cameras just like, well, you could go to any small print shop here in Evansville right now and find a camera set up. They would take 16 or 14, 11 by 14 film or 16/20 film, stuff like that, and we photograph the maps that they wanted and give them negatives so they could print them on something, a map stuff, and the guys could mark out, do what they had to do to mark out. You know. No, it was just like going to work.
So how many hours a day would you actually have to be printing maps?
Well, we had 2 shifts. We had a night shift and a day shift. Map, I guess we got about 6 o'clock every morning, and the daily routine was basically the same as it was at home for guys in our category, you know.
So it sounds like you were very busy.
Well, yeah, just we played a lot of poker and stuff like that, and we had free time, and it was the best thing about it was the experience of meeting other people, especially the guys in my own field from all the other cities, you know, Chicago, New York, and Philadelphia, and all those places, doing the same kind of work I've been doing. So we were birds of a feather. We knew what was going on. Oh, and we were stationed up in Florence, Italy. I mean, today they call it, the Italians call it Firenze, but we knew the war was dragging on, which is fizzling out, hopefully, and we 4 or 5 of us said they all knew that this just can't last, you know, can't go on. So one day in May or April there, I was standing around and they said, well, let's put we each put $20 and picked a date out that the war would be over. So I picked May the 20th, I believe, because whatever day it was my dad's birthday coming up. So I picked that day, and I won the money.
Were there other units within the Army similar to yours in the area? Do you have an idea how many, or?
Well, all I can tell you is this. 4 of us went over together. 953rd, 954th, 955th, 956th, or something like that. And my brother was a commercial photographer here in town, and they put him in one of these, and he wound up in doing in one of these topo units in India, I guess. You know, he went the other way. He left. He got drafted 6 months after I did, and he came on one of these big steamers, and he got home 6 months before I did. See.
Now, the aerial photographs that you would receive, would they come from all over Europe or just from Italy, from your area?
Only from any area that they thought, most of them would be Italy, because that's where we were working on, trying to bring them down. But no, Germany, all the oil fields, and all that kind of stuff was included in the that day. The P-38 was a big plane, and they come in and they could use they would be, somebody would always, somebody knew which a logical place to start working on. That's one thing I like about World War II. We were successful because, by golly, we planned a little bit. You know, they knew what they were going to be doing, and the kind of guys they were going to need, and that was the way we're. Hope. Well, there be no wars like that anymore. They're all gone. I mean, thankfully, it's pitiful. Well, keep in mind that we went on false information on what we did in Iraq. They swore him down. He's got all this stuff. And we had 5 investigations, Marines and everybody, and nobody ever found any evidence that he had anything like that. So we went to war anyhow, and that's just a fizzle there. But that we'll never have another war like World War II. But here's the thing: there will be a lot of hard stuff going in Iraq. The people there now, they're the ones that are having trouble getting together and working out their own deal because they can't get the control of the area that the oil is in and all that. See, so there's still a problem there, but there'll never be another war like World War II because it won't accomplish anything.
Now, because your unit, Topo unit, were making these very important timely maps because they used them basically for the bombers, correct, to do their missions.
Well, both probably, but that was so that they could. The guys who were going to fly knew the territory and could recognize certain things, and oil refineries and railroads and all that kind of stuff.
Do you remember what seemed to be the prime targets that you were helping them to identify with these updated maps?
In prime target was railroad trains running along the tracks. The fighters would go after them, and the oil fields and refineries, anything that was keeping the German Army, Air Force going. Luftwaffe, you know.
Do you remember where the key oil fields were that your map unit had directed?
I can't bring the names up, but it would be northwest of southern Italy. But those guys went on those flights, they will be out there 15, 16 hours on the way out and the way back. So, tail gunners, B-17s, they're